Welcome back to California Cooking. The biggest food holiday of the year is just about here. So I have a few recipes for your holiday table that are twists on some of the classic recipes you know and love. So let's start with the most flavorful way to season your turkey legs and thighs. I headed down to Love and Salt in Manhattan Beach to get some really good Turkey Day tips. Hi, Chef.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Talk about a restaurant with a view. My goodness, you walk down the street here into your restaurant and there's just the Pacific Ocean saying hello.
It's really wonderful. South Bay is gorgeous.
This restaurant, if you live in the Manhattan Beach area, you know it.
Yes.
You've walked past it if you haven't eaten here, but many people, this is a part of living here.
It's a community restaurant.
Yeah.
We like to say that we're a neighborhood restaurant first. And that's what we want to make sure that our neighbors come in and enjoy our food, and they have for 10 years. And here we are.
You're an LA guy, grew up in the area.
Yes. I grew up in Torrance, actually, right down the road from here.
And so to have now a restaurant 10 years, I would say that's a success story, especially through the pandemic, those tough years.
It's been incredible. The ownership here, the Gabriel family, have a restaurant in here for 40 years plus. Before Love and Salt, they had a restaurant in here, a French restaurant forever, and it was just incredible, and they rebranded, and now it's been 10 years of this.
What are some things you're gonna do to kind of thank customers who've been with you this whole time and celebrate?
You'll be able to come in, we'll have stations set up, we're gonna have a giant antipasti station here, we'll be doing tray pass food and drinks and a nice dessert station. Everybody can be a part of the community, walk around, taste, and enjoy themselves.
Mingle.
We're also gonna be raising money on this for this 10-year
great.
anniversary for Guarding Her, which is a charity that helps women entrepreneurs in the restaurant business.
And the name Love and Salt, which is very charming.
Well, when Sylvie, our owner, wanted to come up with a name for the restaurant, she wanted to do it with a lot of love and a little bit of salt.
As chefs will say, if you don't get the salt right, forget it.
Yes, it's all
Right?
a balance, yes, absolutely. Salt is one of the most important things in the world.
That's where you start. When you talk about California cuisine, which so many restaurants are, and it's about fresh, kind of light ingredients, but you kind of meld that with Italian food. Why the mashup for you?
The mashup is a very easy one because in Italy, it's the height of the season always. As you know, if you've ever been to Europe and traveled anywhere, not just Italy, you take whatever's in season and that's what you're doing. Obviously, pasta you can make year round, but it's how do you freshen up and how do you use what's live? We're in California. This is the nicest thing. We're the most spoiled people on the planet for produce and everything. So we get the best produce at the height of the season, and it's better than anywhere else.
Let's talk about your menu. You have some cozy fall kind of holiday
Oh, I
food on
love
the
it.
menu.
Yeah. The fall is, everybody loves the abundance of summer, but I think fall is my favorite. I love the root vegetables, and it's just the best time of year because it reminds me of getting together with your family, sharing things family style. At Love and Salt, we do a lot of things that are for the table to share. So I really it's an inspiring, and I wouldn't say easier time of year, but it's more fun.
And it's cozy. Things can roast slowly. Like I'm looking at some of the things on the table here that just make you want to dive in. What do we have on the table?
All right, so we have our, as I say, nice beautiful fall carrots. They're rainbow carrots. I serve them with a black garlic yogurt. It's like a fermented garlic that I puree with yogurt, a little bit of lemon juice, some salt, and then I do a crisp of shallots and garlic with a little bit of turmeric, coriander, cumin, and then it's just sprinkled on top with a little bit of parsley.
Really nice. I highly recommend it too.
We have our burrata, our winter burrata dish with persimmons and pears. You can't get any more fall than that. A little bit of parsley, fresh burrata, and pomegranate seed. It's just beautiful, light, acidic.
And then, oh my gosh.
So this is our lasagna we do here for two. It's a lasagna rollantini. So it's like we take, instead of doing the traditional square lasagna, I take lasagna and we roll them with layers of cheese and bolognese. And then this way, what I like to say is everybody gets a crispy edge on lasagna, which is the thing everybody fights for on lasagna anyway. We'll finish with a little bit of fresh Jersey ricotta and basil and a little tomato sauce.
That is excellent. What is Thanksgiving like at your house? Do you cook?
I cook a lot on Thanksgiving. That is the one holiday that my family has always celebrated.
Yeah.
Whether we've gone down years or up years, I've had as many as 60 people at my house for Thanksgiving, and I've had as few as 12 or 14.
That's a lot
during
of
the
extra
pandemic.
folding chairs.
That is
60.
a lot. Where that's renting tables, that's renting chairs, that
Yeah.
was having it.
Normally you're cooking for your family of 4 or whatever, and now you've got the whole family and you're like, how many bags of potatoes do I need? How many pounds of turkey? You got that nailed.
I do have that nailed, but to say it's a little more difficult because my brother is a big leftover people and a lot of people that come over are very much. So one of the things we're going to be demoing today is actually something because we have a fight now for dark meat because of how the recipe
true.
I'm doing. So
Hasn't that changed? I feel like we
totally
went from
changed.
everybody wanting white meat to now everyone's like, forget the white meat, we're into the dark.
Exactly.
Okay, chef, what do we have? We have our turkey legs and thighs.
Yeah, so this is a kind of what I do at my house now, and it's become a tradition that everybody loves. And the idea is my sister and my brother-in-law, they got a giant spice rack gift, like that I think most people get for their wedding anniversary. And it's, how do you use? They're like, how do we use this? What do we do with this? And so I was like, okay, North Africa and in southern Spain they do a lot of spice blending. Same thing in Sicily. So what I've done is I create like a little spice blend here, where I will just simply take some turmeric, some garlic powder, a little ground ginger, ground cinnamon, onion powder, paprika, a little ground cumin and ground coriander, and just a touch of salt. And we just take it, and then I just like to use a little bit of a whisk. We're gonna take our spice blend, we're gonna take our chicken thighs, and I like to do this if you have a chance to do it a day ahead of time. I also think this is something to do. I call this a dry brine.
Yeah.
So you take your salt, a general amount, take your rub.
Now this is great if you have a smaller gathering or like you said, you wanna make some extra.
Exactly. These I cooked for about an hour and 45. Okay. These are a little bit smaller than you would normally get on a turkey, but you know, dark meat turkey is just, I love that it's kind of having its day in the sun. So once we have a generous amount of seasoning on here, I then take it, I transfer it. I do a bed of onions because who doesn't like delicious spiced turkey flavored onions to add as a garnish for this. And then I will roast. I will try to keep my thicker parts to the outside because that's obviously going to cook, and then I'll put my legs and thighs kind of angled towards the middle. From here, I would just sprinkle a touch of olive oil on it and put it in your oven. 375, 2 hours, and
there's
you're all
a voila coming.
There
Ready
is.
for the voila, chef?
We are ready.
Voila!
Voila, here we
Look
are.
at that.
As I said, they're cooked lovely. They almost look like a fried chicken.
It really does, and all of the skin got crispy.
Exactly. So when you dig into this, and as I said, you see the little beautiful onions on the bottom that have just cooked up, and they're just crunchy and crispy and full of that turmeric and coriander goodness. All right.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
chef.
Thanksgiving.
This is
Thank
great.
you.
Coming up, it's the best of both worlds, mashed potatoes and potatoes au gratin in one dish. Then I'm gonna show you how to make a no-bake pumpkin dessert for your Thanksgiving table. That's coming up. Potatoes are my favorite thing on the Thanksgiving table. And just when I thought I couldn't love them anymore, how about adding potato au gratin topping to your classic mashed potatoes? My favorite thing on the Thanksgiving table are the mashed potatoes. And I've made them before for you guys years ago, Mrs. Plow's potatoes, which is named after a pastor's wife. When my mom, I was little and living in Ohio, and these potatoes have become the staple for our family, which is just mashed potatoes, but they have a lot of cream cheese and sour cream. And that's what I make every year. But this year, I saw something, a guy by the name of Chef John, a shout out to Chef John, who basically makes a potato that is a cross between an au gratin and a mashed potato. And I thought, oh my gosh, that looks like the best thing. So I'm gonna give it a try. And basically you make your mashed potatoes, and then on top, you put this layer of cheesy potatoes, and then it bakes. We'll see how it goes. But I always like to try something different from time to time. And I think this could do just what we want, which is that mix of creamy mashed potatoes and cheesy au gratin potatoes. So the first thing, I actually peeled these overnight and just kept them in the water because otherwise they would brown. but I wanted to kind of get ahead and do the peeling. So I'm just going to cut them into chunks and we're gonna boil them in salted water. And these will be the base of our mashed potatoes. So nothing different here. This is what you would normally do. And then you're going to reserve at least 2 or 3 potatoes for the top because we slice them. The oven is beeping behind me. I set it to 400 because we are going to bake these at some point as well. Go. Okay, I'm gonna save those 2 for on top. And then I'm gonna put this with a big tablespoon of salt and get these boiling. So while our water is boiling with our potatoes, you saw back there I have some heavy cream lightly warming up on the oven. You don't want to scald your milk, so it's just gently warming. And then I also melted a stick of butter. So this is the kind of the au gratin part of the potato dish where you slice the potatoes, you put them in butter, Parmesan cheese, and garlic, and then you're going to place them on top of the mashed potatoes. So here are a few of our Yukon Gold potatoes and slice them very thin. So you can do this by hand, or if you have a mandolin, even your food processor could slice your potatoes. So we're gonna put our potatoes into a bowl, coat them in melted butter, and then I'm gonna take a clove of garlic, maybe 2. Garlic, going in, a nice fat pinch of salt, do some pepper, some Parmesan cheese. I got a good Parmesan. Just grate that over the potatoes. And we're also, so Parmesan goes on these potatoes, and then in the mashed potatoes, some white cheddar. So it's like a double cheese situation. Our potatoes have cooked, and then I let them sit in the colander. You want them dry. You don't want your potatoes wet, because then you have wet mashed potatoes. I know some people think it's controversial to kind of whip potatoes because it can get too starchy and mushy, but you really just gotta be kind of fast about it and don't overmix. To that, we've got melted butter, unsalted, and I've got heavy cream, warm, and you just start, you kind of play around, see where you're at. A little bit of salt, not much. Okay, we are done. To that, shredded, I'm gonna do sharp cheddar. I think you could do mild, but you want it to be white, just to keep the white potatoes. I'm gonna do half the bag, and then just stir that in. It's going to melt and get ooey gooey. Are luscious, and they'll thicken up also when you bake them. So look at this. Let me get a big spoon. I want a baking dish. I switched out one I had that I think was a little too big. You want it to where your potatoes kind of go almost to the very tippy top, and then you line it with the beautiful sliced potatoes. So I think this dish is going to work out. Now we have our Parmesan butter sliced potatoes. And you just make a lovely little design on top. And these potatoes on top will get a little bit crispy and give you texture, right? You're gonna bake this covered for about 20 minutes at 400, and then you take the cover off and add more Parmesan cheese. Going on to a baking sheet because they are starting to bubble over. And before we put it back in, uncovered, more Parmesan right on top. At least another 35 minutes probably. This looks so good. It's bubbling, it's golden, just to add a little chive on top. Why not? And I love how the potatoes on top got so crispy. Oh my gosh. Now, I would say mashed potatoes underneath are probably like molten lava. So you might want to wait a second before you dig in. But I'm just curious. Look at that. So you've got the ooey gooey potato and then kind of the crunchy bit on top. I'm gonna just take a little taste. Chef John, these are killer potatoes. Oh my gosh, and I can't even imagine how good they'd be with gravy. I don't even know if I could handle gravy on top. It might just send me over the edge. But don't burn yourself like I just did. Coming up, this may just be one of the easiest desserts to add to your holiday table, and it's a real showstopper too. I'm gonna show you how to put together my no-bake pumpkin ginger snap trifle, coming up next. It is all the flavors you love from a pumpkin pie, but no baking required. Check out how easy it is to make this pumpkin ginger snap trifle. Time now to make a dessert that you don't have to turn the oven on, the stove. This is a no-bake dessert for Thanksgiving, and it couldn't be easier. It's a trifle, basically. So you don't even have to have kind of the trifle dish because you like to see the layers. You could even do it in a glass and make individual portions, but it's basically all the goodness of the inside of a pumpkin pie without baking a crust. And what we're gonna use kind of for the crunchy bits are these, which I'm obsessed with, these Tate's Bake Shop ginger zinger cookies. They're so good. And these ones happen to be gluten-free and they're so good. And I'm not even someone that does gluten-free, but they are delicious. So first thing, cream cheese, I've just let it sit out for an hour or so, softened block of cream cheese. And for those of us who are not bakers, I am not, this is kind of a nice idea. So 1 block of cream cheese goes into our mixer. To that, a can of pumpkin puree, not sweetened, just 100% pumpkin. So this is nice too when you make it at home. You know what's in it, it's real ingredients, you can control the sugar, add less if you want. Let's mix these two together. So you mix the cream cheese and the pumpkin until it's combined, and now 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, a nice fat splash of vanilla, and some pumpkin pie spice. So I'm gonna do about a tablespoon of that. And the other thing I wanted to add, a little bit of orange zest. I like a little bit of fresh orange with pumpkin. So I'm gonna just a little bit, give it a little something. You know, if you have like a little clementine around or an orange, let's get that combined. You wanna start slow because of the cream. And then you gradually increase as it starts to combine. I'm gonna start with a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and just see where we're at. I'll probably need more, but I'd rather add less. Okay, I think we're done. Don't wanna over whip. I'm going to put this in the freezer just for a second, and we'll come back and do our cookie crumbles. Time to start building our trifle. That's how easy it was. You make the pumpkin mixture. We also have to make some whipped cream though, which is very simple. But for the crunchy base of our trifle, our ginger snap cookies, and I love these cookies because they have crystallized real ginger in them. And all you do is you just start crumbling. So we want a cookie base for our 1 layer. So you want enough where you see a clear layer of this at the bottom. So there is our ginger cookie. I'll do the whole pack, why not? On top of our ginger cookie, I got our pumpkin mixture, cream cheese mixture out of the freezer, just in there a few minutes. And then, so simple, it's just pouring that on top. Now, a lot of times trifles can be multiple layers. I am just making life easy and doing 3 layers. And then on top, we're going to do a whipped cream and maybe some more ginger snaps. So I'm gonna clean out this bowl and we'll do our whipped cream. Time to make some whipped cream. Whipped cream, I think, makes all the difference for your desserts at Thanksgiving because it's just heavy whipping cream and powdered sugar. That's it, and you whip it up, and it tastes so much better than buying it. So you really don't even have to measure. I would say a cup of heavy cream. It's always good to have extra, I think, too, for your pies or whatever you may have. You can add vanilla. I'm gonna keep it simple. First I'm gonna do a little mixing before I add my powdered sugar. In goes some powdered sugar, a couple tablespoons. I don't want it too sweet. Okay, done. You walk away and it happens very quickly. You don't want to whip it to the point where it becomes butter. So you just want very soft, perfectly lightly sweetened, just soft peaks, nothing too thick. Now you could pipe it and make some design if you like, but I'm just going to put a big dollop in the middle. And I don't want to take it all the way to the edge. And then I bought an extra bag of Gingersnap cookies just because. I'm glad I did. And I would take one or two, and just so people know what's going on, crumble a little bit more on top. Beautiful. And then a little more fresh orange zest on top. Voila. I kind of need to dig into this and see what's going on. Get all my layers, the cookie, the cream. I love it because it's actually, I know it, after a heavy Thanksgiving meal, this is kind of light. And I know there's a lot of cream in it, but the sugar is really low as far as how much I added. It's not sweet. And then you get the crunchy, gingery cookie. This is what I would go for on the dessert buffet. For all the recipes we featured in today's episode, you can follow us on Instagram at KTLA California Cooking. That does it for us. Thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next time.